Max had always considered himself lucky. Not lottery winner lucky, but the kind of luck that kept him alive when 70% of humanity's first contact team had been vaporized by what turned out to be a Zafrani greeting ritual gone wrong. The aliens hadn't meant harm. They simply hadn't realized that humans couldn't survive plasma temperatures that would make a star jealous. Now, 6 months into the diplomatic mission aboard the Nexus station, Max found himself working alongside Mia, a xenolinguist who had somehow managed to decode 17 alien languages in the time it took him to learn how to properly pronounce hello in Zafrani. She was brilliant, tireless, and had a habit of correcting his translations with a smile that suggested she found his mistakes endearing rather than annoying. The station's observation deck had become their unofficial office. Through the massive viewport, a dozen alien vessels hung in the void like Christmas ornaments designed by fever dreams. Max was reviewing trade negotiations with the Korthax, a species that looked like ambulatory mountains of crystal, when Mia rushed in, her tablet clutched to her chest. "We have a problem," she said, her eyes wide with something between excitement and terror. Max set down his coffee, which was terrible station-brewed stuff that tasted like burnt rubber. "What kind of problem? The we might accidentally insult someone and start a war kind, or the someone's already insulted and we need to run kind?" "The Velkari ambassador wants to meet with you, privately in 1 hour." Max blinked. The Velkari were enigmatic even by alien standards, humanoid enough to be unsettling, with their translucent skin that revealed bioluminescent organs pulsing beneath. They rarely spoke to humans directly, preferring to communicate through intermediaries and elaborate metaphorical riddles that gave everyone headaches. "Why me? I'm just a trade coordinator. You're the language expert." Mia bit her lip, a gesture he'd noticed she did when hiding something. "Ambassador Silvara specifically requested you, by name, in perfect English." An hour later, Max stood in the Velkari diplomatic suite, which smelled like ozone and jasmine. The ambassador materialized from behind a curtain of what looked like liquid starlight, because of course the Velkari had decorative physics violations. Silvara was tall, easily 7 feet, with those characteristic translucent features and eyes that held depths, suggesting she could see through more than just skin. Her bioluminescent patterns pulsed in what Max had learned was the Velkari equivalent of a smile. "Max Cooper," she said, her voice like wind chimes in a cathedral. "Thank you for coming. Ambassador, I'm honored, though I'm not sure why." "Your species fascinates us," Silvara interrupted, gliding closer. "You are so fragile, yet so persistent. You nearly extinguish yourselves with every technological leap, yet you endure. You wage wars over concepts and colors, yet you also die for strangers without hesitation." Max shifted uncomfortably. "We're a work in progress. You are a paradox. And paradoxes are—" She paused, her patterns flaring bright violet. "Intriguing." The conversation continued for 20 minutes, dancing around trade agreements and cultural exchanges. But Max couldn't shake the feeling that Silvara was studying him the way a scientist might study a particularly fascinating specimen. Her questions grew more personal, about his childhood, his fears, his dreams. Finally, feeling awkward and slightly overwhelmed, Max deployed his usual defense mechanism, humor. "You know, Ambassador, if I didn't know better, I'd think you were interviewing me for something other than trade negotiations." He laughed nervously. "Next you'll tell me you love me or something." He meant it as a joke, a deflection, the kind of self-deprecating humor that had gotten him through countless uncomfortable diplomatic situations. But Silvara went completely still. Her bioluminescent patterns froze mid-pulse, then exploded into a cascade of colors Max had never seen from a Velkari before. Golds and crimsons and something that hurt to look at directly. She stepped closer, close enough that Max could see his reflection in her vast, starlit eyes. Then she smiled, truly smiled, with something that transcended species and translation, and whispered, "How did you know?" Max's brain short-circuited. What? I was joking. I didn't actually. Among my people," Silvara said softly. "Love is not the chemical reaction you experience. It is recognition. The acknowledgement that another consciousness, however alien, however impossible, has become essential to understanding the universe. When I watch you bumble through negotiations, making mistakes but never giving up. When I see you protect your colleague Mia without expecting gratitude, When I observe you apologize to species that nearly killed you, because you understand that misunderstanding is not malice. I recognize you, Max Cooper. I see you. And yes, by every definition my people have, I love you. Max stood frozen, his mind racing through every diplomatic protocol, every first contact guideline, every single training session that had never, ever covered this scenario. I'm human, he finally managed. You're Velkari. We're not even biologically compatible. This can't. Compatibility is irrelevant, Silvara said. I do not wish to merge biology with you. I wish to merge understanding. Your species believes love must lead to possession, to consumption. Mine believes it leads to elevation. By recognizing you, I become more. You have already changed how I see the universe. Max thought of Mia, who would probably have 17 theories about interspecies emotional connection. He thought of Earth, where they'd barely achieved peace among their own kind. He thought of the impossibility, the absolute absurdity, of standing in an alien diplomatic suite being confessed to by a 7-foot crystalline being who could probably accidentally kill him with a hug. And then he thought about what Silvara had actually said. Not possession, not consumption, recognition. I don't know what to say, Max admitted. Say nothing, Silvara replied, her patterns settling into a gentle amber glow. But perhaps, continue being exactly who you are. That is enough. As Max left the suite, his head spinning, he found Mia waiting outside, trying and failing to look casual. So, she asked, how did it go? Max looked at her, then back at the sealed door, then up at the impossible stars beyond the station's hull. Mia, he said slowly, I think humanity just became a lot more interesting to the universe. She raised an eyebrow. More interesting how? Max laughed. A genuine, bewildered, utterly human sound that echoed through the corridor. Apparently, he said, we're worth loving. Even when we're just making it up as we go along. And somewhere in the Velkari suite, Silvara's patterns pulsed with something that, across 1,000 light years and 1,000,000 years of evolution, could only be called joy.